We are live. How's it going, guys? Welcome to Crossing China's Red Line, the only live stream where we talk about the CCP. Oh, no, wait. There's about a million live streams like this one, but we are the most fun, I think. And I'm going to prove that today. We've got a really fun episode for you guys and I'm really looking forward to getting into it. But first, I'm just going to check the chat. Yes, I can see there are some of you here at the moment. I can see we have Headley, we have David Lopan, we've got Xu Zhuan, we have Mike here, and we have Zhu Heng. We got a bunch of people in here already. That is pretty cool. And you're all talking about random things that I have no idea what you're talking about. So let's get into today's topic. We have a few topics today, actually, and I'm just going to load up my screen and we will get straight into it. We've got a lot to cover today, a hell of a lot. Here we go. Let me see. How do I share this? Yep, that's how we do it. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay and you can see what's going on here. Today, I just wanted to talk about football. Now, I guess some of you guys are not from the UK. You probably have no idea about football, or as Americans call it, North Americans like to call it soccer. But it's football and it's the original football. And here is the Premier League. This is the numero uno top tier league in the UK. Okay. And as we can see, Arsenal is number one at the moment. They've had 11 wins. They've played 16 games. They've played 16 matches. They've had 11 wins, 3 draws, and 2 losses. Now, why the hell am I telling you about football? You're probably confused. Like, this is not a football live stream, but we're going to get right to the bottom of the table. And we have a team called the Wolverhampton Wanderers. They've played 16 matches. They've haven't won a single one. They've drew 2 games. So all in all, that's 14 losses. They are right at the bottom of the table. But why is this important? Well, it's been in the news for this hilarious reason. So Wolverhampton Wanderers are owned by Chinese investors. And ever since the Chinese investors took over, their performance has declined. As I just showed you there, they haven't won a single game this season. And the fans are really, really pissed off with the chairman of the football team called Jeff Shi. He's Chinese. The fans really, really do not want to be regulated, and they're so pissed off with this owner that they've actually found a new way to troll him because they want to get rid of this Chinese owner. What would be the best way to get rid of him? Well, it would be to hold up Taiwan's flag at matches. So here you can see we have the Wolverhampton Wanderers logo with Taiwan's flag on it, and they're saying, "What's the plan, Jeff?" Because Jeff hasn't been given them much information. They're super pissed off with him. They are super pissed off. Here we go. And look, here is one of the matches. You can see fans are holding up Taiwan's flag with a big sign saying "Sh out." Now, this is definitely one of the best ways that you could get rid of a Chinese investor, right? These flags are going to be broadcast on live games. He's going to see this all the time. If you want to get rid of one of your Chinese owners, then yeah, it's definitely the way to go. You can see even one guy, a fan who was on the train. Somebody snapped a photo of him holding Taiwan's. And I just thought it was really, really funny because China they have a pretty poor track record when it comes to football, right? I just wanted to show you this clip. If you remember, they got absolutely whooped by
Corner,
Japan.
each of across from here. Minamino here sets off. Minamino is in again. He's sub Ito.
Turn that
Next
down a
cross
bit.
comes in for Kubo.
In fact, in China, it's an insult to call somebody Chinese football teams, especially the man's football team. That is actually an insult. It's actually quite a funny one. You could actually go to China. You could say, "Hey, you are Chinese man's football team," and that would be an insult to somebody. That's how bad they are at football in China. Um, Remember this guy crying when they lost to Japan? Okay, so it's funny. So as a protest against this Chinese owner who has really neglected the team, they have started holding up Taiwan flags. I think it's amazing, but also football tells a cautionary tale of why Chinese investment is never a guarantee and never really a good thing. So why are so many Chinese investors getting involved with English football teams? So, in case you guys didn't know, this guy, hold on, where is he? I got a video, a little funny sound bite. This guy, where is that crap? No, I don't. Why don't we have that anymore? I thought I had Xi Jinping, some funny Xi Jinping. So anyway, let's so Xi Jinping is a massive fan of football, okay? And he wants his country, China, to become a football superpower. So the government in 2016, they really, really encouraged investment in football. And Chinese money just poured into both the Chinese Super League that they have and also clubs abroad, including teams here in the UK, like, for example, Southampton, the team that we just talked about, Wolverhampton, Birmingham, Reading, West Bromwich Albion, and also some investors even bought a small stake in one of the most popular teams, Manchester City. But recently, the money has been stopping, investment has been coming to a standstill, and that is because the Chinese government just arbitrarily changed the rules as they usually do. So they've actually limited how much money can be sent out of the country. So these rich investors, they can't easily use their cash overseas anymore, because apparently the domestic goals come first for China. Whatever, right? So because of these tightening rules and a focus on investing inside China, foreign football spending has completely dropped. Some owners couldn't make the clubs work. They just suck at this management of the teams. And some of these investors just didn't run the clubs properly. They created financial trouble, which has really pissed off the fans, which is why you have these guys holding up Taiwan's flags at the matches. It's had a huge impact on British clubs. Some Chinese owners actually sold up. For example, Southampton team, the Chinese investor sold, but some others didn't. So clubs like Birmingham uh, and West Brom, they're facing financial problems and protests from fans. Because the rules make it hard to get money out of China, owners can't easily invest more. So fans hoping for new investment have to wait, and they're sick of waiting. So what does it mean going forward? Well, obviously, do I have to spell it out? Chinese cash is no longer a quick fix for British football clubs, and owners may keep their clubs as assets parked outside China instead of selling, even if the teams are struggling. So they just consider it an asset. They're neglecting these clubs because it's more valuable for the owner, um, as money stored abroad than actually owning a football team and investing in that team continuously. It is basically just a way for them to wash their money, right? So it's a cautionary tale. It's unpredictable what can happen in China. The government can just change things on a whim. So we really should not be relying on Chinese investment for anything in the future because there's absolutely no stability there. All the only stability is the Chinese Communist Party, and they can just arbitrarily make up the rules and do whatever the hell they want. And that's all I wanted to say about that one. I hope that was interesting. Let me just show you one more time the Taiwanese flags. I love this. Where is it? Get that off of there. I think it's great. Just amazing. Good stuff.
It's an early.
Alrighty, let's move on because we got another interesting story before we get to the main topic, which is, of course, Jimmy Lai. This guy crying, man. What a loser. Oh, bless him. Rightio. This one. Wow. Okay. So, who would have thought that tea would become a political topic? But this has kind of blown up in Taiwan. So, there was an international tea competition in Paris. And one of the winners of this tea competition was Taiwanese. The tea was from Taiwan. And when he was receiving his award, the Taiwanese flag was put up in the background on here on the PowerPoint on the projector, and Chinese embassy staff did not like that. So they stood up and they tried to protest against the Taiwan flag being there, saying that Taiwan belongs to China. So let's have a look.
Taiwan is just a province now.
In my opinion, Taiwan is the best country of tea. Best. No one can compete.
Best country, did you hear that? He said the best country.
Taiwan is just a province now.
So, can you see why they were protesting? There's a minute, minuscule, micro machined sized flag on that little PPT PowerPoint presentation or whatever it is that's being projected up onto that small screen there. The tiniest little flag of Taiwan, and these embassy staff stand up and they have to protest against it because that is how pathetic they are. They are just like the Streisand effect, isn't it? You know, it's like they just by standing up and protesting, they're just drawing more attention to the thing and showing people how pathetic and childish they really are. Because obviously Taiwan is not a part of China, and in France, you know, why can't somebody, a Taiwanese person who wins an award in another country, put up the flag of his country? It just really, really pisses me off when these Chinese embassy staff like these guys stand up and do this, you know. And they've just made absolute tits of themselves as usual, and it's just really just funny to even to see it in action because it just happens all the freaking time, and you get fed up of it. I get totally fed up with it, you know, because I always walk around with Taiwan's flag, and honestly, a lot of them just don't even have the balls to confront me. But the amount of times they walk past giving me dirty looks, if you saw my most recent Free China video, you would have seen that there was a couple and they walked past and they were kind of standing there debating with each other whether to come and approach me and challenge me, I guess, because I'm just holding Taiwan's flag. Yeah. Anyway, it is funny. Right. We're going to get on to the main topic. And just a round of applause to that guy. And thank you for showing Taiwan's flag and having the guts to do that. Because a lot of people in Taiwan are too afraid to do, would be too afraid to do something like that. We need more people standing up for Taiwan and more Taiwanese people showing that they're not afraid of the CCP. Okay, it is time to move on to the main topic. We are talking about Jimmy Lai. So, first of all, this is going to be a longer one, I believe, but I've got a lot to talk about. I just want to kind of get through it. And we'll talk about it in the chat later as well. But obviously, maybe some of you have no idea who Jimmy Lai is. I would hope that you guys know. So let's just get into it. So, Jimmy Lai, who is he? Well, Jimmy Lai is a Hong Kong former media tycoon and pro democracy activist. He's from Hong Kong, but I think it's very important to note that he is a British citizen. He has a British passport. So, Jimmy Lai is best known as the founder of the outspoken newspaper Apple Daily. He's also a British citizen, as I just said, and a vocal critic of the Chinese government, which, unfortunately for him, led to his arrest and conviction under Hong Kong's national security law. So, here is the Apple Daily newspaper that he founded, which doesn't exist anymore. So, in 2019, some huge pro democracy protests in Hong Kong erupted. What was its goal? Its goal was to stop challenges to. Oh, sorry. We're going to move on. I just wanted. I've got this in the wrong order, which is kind of dumb of me. So, yeah, 2019, huge pro democracy protests in Hong Kong. It was crazy. It was huge. There were thousands and thousands of people there, all of them there to protest against this, the national security law, which was imposed by China in 2020 after the big pro democracy protests, which were going the pro democracy protests were going against the CCP's authoritarian reach over Hong Kong, which was getting worse and worse over the years. And this was China's answer to the pro democracy protests. So, this is the national security law. It is horrible. Its goal is to stop challenges to Beijing's control, and it makes four things a crime in Hong Kong, which weren't a crime beforehand. So, secession, trying to split from China, subversion, trying to undermine the government, terrorism, which is very broadly defined, and collusion with foreign forces, working with or asking other countries to pressure China or Hong Kong. So, a lot of people criticize this national security law, and for good reason. It's ridiculous. Okay. For a start, the rules are very vague. Any speech that you make can be treated as a crime. Cases can be tried without a jury, and penalties for breaking this law are very, very severe, all the way up to life in prison. It's being used against journalists, activists, opposition figures, and Jimmy Lai fits into this category. It gives the government wide power to punish protest, criticism, and foreign contact. That all of this used to be perfectly legal in Hong Kong. Okay. So Jimmy Lai was arrested under this national security law. So let's just give you a brief timeline. Okay. So in 2020, after the mass pro democracy protests, China imposed a national security law. Lai is arrested for protest related offenses and then later charged under the new law. In 2021, he's jailed after being convicted of a fraud related charge linked to Apple Daily's office lease. They just all of a sudden find a fraud related charge. In 2021 to current, he remains in prison um, while facing national security charges, which means colluding with foreign forces and publishing seditious material. So in 2025, right now, a few days ago, he is convicted and he was awaiting sentencing and he just got his sentence and he has been seen as guilty. He has been sentenced as guilty. He's definitely been jailed for political reasons. So anyway, this is just really, really a crazy, crazy thing. They found him guilty on all charges, and the judges wrote a big written decision saying the evidence showed he acted with intent against the government. So, anyway, so the charges that he was charged with was colluding with foreign forces, and prosecutors said that he tried to get other countries involved against Hong Kong and China. And apparently, he was publishing seditious material. They accused his newspaper and writings of stirring up opposition, um, and he pleaded not guilty to all of the charges. Okay, now one of the most disturbing things about this case to me, about this trial, this sham trial, is there wasn't a jury there at all. Instead of the jury, the case was heard by three judges that were specially appointed for national security cases, which makes this trial absolutely unfair because these were not just normal people watching the case like a jury would be and getting to decide and making a verdict. No, it was three people appointed by the CCP. This is just absolutely ridiculous. Okay, and prosecutors apparently showed many articles, interviews, and meetings as evidence, arguing Lai sought to influence foreign governments. Lai testified in his own defense for days, saying he did not call for sanctions after the national security law took effect. So, as I said, the verdict was delivered. He's guilty on all charges. It was a complete sham of a trial. But apparently, they found evidence showing that he acted with intent against the government. And it's quite interesting that they got him on this national security law. So, anyway, what happens next? So, Lai faces sentencing later. He's possibly, well, probably, or definitely going to get life in prison because of these national security charges. He can appeal the verdict at a higher court, but yeah, I'd just like to say good luck with that. My God, it is just a sham trial. Let me get to this. There we go. That's the article that I've linked in today's video, by the way. Okay. So, obviously, many foreign governments and human rights groups have completely condemned the trial, and rightly so. They've been saying that it undermines press freedom and lacked fairness. Well, obviously, I mean, there was no jury. His case was decided by, just think about it. His case was decided by judges that were handpicked for national security cases, not a jury of the public. I mean, that is just extremely fishy. And this law is so broad. Okay, so normal things like articles, interviews, or meetings were treated as criminal acts. They can just use anything and criminalize it. That is what is going on here. Okay, what he said and published was used against him, which really raises press freedom concerns, right? He didn't have any or limited defense rights. He was denied his chosen overseas lawyer, and the bail was extremely hard to get. Obviously, there was a lot of political pressure. The law and courts ultimately answered to Beijing now, right? They're not fully independent local authorities. He was basically punished for expression and political views, not genuine security threats. And we have this tweet from Yvette Cooper, the Foreign Secretary here in the UK. So she says the UK condemns the politically motivated prosecution of Jimmy Lai that has resulted in today's guilty verdict. Jimmy Lai has been targeted by the Chinese and Hong Kong governments for peacefully exercising his right to freedom of expression. Beijing's national security law was imposed on Hong Kong to silence China's critics. The UK has repeatedly called for the national security law to be repealed and for an end to this prosecution of all individuals charged under it. We continue to call for Mr. Lai's immediate release, for all necessary treatment, and for full access to independent medical professionals. Here's the thing: a lot of the charges that were put against him, they were from before this whole national security law existed. So how can they say that they're arresting him under the national security law when everything that he did that he's supposed to have done wrong was before the national security law even existed? It is ridiculous. They just arbitrarily make shit up and they can do whatever the hell they want. That is why Hong Kong is fucked, unfortunately. So this tweet from Yvette Cooper, while it sounds all like great and we're really sticking up for Mr. Lai, it definitely is not. Okay, it doesn't mention it like that everything happened to Lai, every single thing that's happened to him from this point, from his point of getting arrested, goes completely against something that we signed with China in 1984. The Sino-British Joint Declaration. So this treaty was signed in 1984 and it promised Hong Kong freedom of speech, press, and an independent legal system until 2047. 2047, not 2025. China has just completely taken this declaration, ripped it up, wiped their ass with it, flushed it down the toilet. This declaration might as well have not even been signed. Okay, Jimmy Lai's prosecution targets journalism, political speech, and foreign contacts, which critics say undermines those promised freedoms from this joint British Sino declaration. The national security law was imposed by Beijing, not Hong Kong's own legislature, weakening Hong Kong's promised autonomy. Apparently, China thinks that this joint declaration is no longer legally binding and that the national security law is an internal matter. Apparently, this law is needed to restore order and doesn't violate basic rights. So, explain Jimmy Lai's case then. Lai's case absolutely breaches the spirit and commitments of this joint declaration, and China does not give a shit about it. And also, Yvette Cooper's little tweet there doesn't mention anything about Lai being a British citizen, somebody who she should be trying her absolute best to get out of a sticky situation, which makes me really worry that if China ever gets their grubby hands on me, then I'm fucked too, because I'm a British citizen just like Jimmy Lai. It's crazy. It's crazy. And possibly we might see in the near future, very near future, as Starmer is going to Beijing again, we might see Xi Jinping using Jimmy Lai as a bargaining chip to get their mega embassy built. And obviously, Starmer is so desperate to make a trade deal with China. So we might actually see Jimmy Lai released as a bargaining chip to get this mega embassy built, which will mean all Hong Kongers in the UK will be in big trouble. Anyway, guys, let's move on from this. We'll keep updated on this Jimmy Lai thing. Please show your support for Hong Kongers. They deserve it. So we're going to move on to the next little part of today's stream, which is Xi's Moments. I love Xi's Moments. So what beautiful Xi's Moments do we have today? And by the way, for you who don't know, Xi's Moments is a Twitter page, a Twitter account that's been created fairly recently, and it's just all quotes from Xi Jinping. It's really just ridiculous. Okay, so this is a quote from Xi Jinping. The key to running a country is to make its people better off. All right, let's have a look then. Oh, and by the way,
我在北京
what's up, Beijing? The key to running a country is to make its people better off. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. Way to go, Captain Obvious Xi Jinping. I mean, Jesus Christ. I did not know that. I really didn't know that the key to running a country is to make its people better off. Talk about stating the goddamn obvious. It's like me saying, the key to opening a door is to pull down the handle and push it. Or the key to speaking is to open your mouth. You know, it's just fucking damn obvious. What a joke. All right, so we'll see how running a country and how they're running their country and making the people better off. We have this video that I found.
天呐，这两个视频在中国的社交媒体上疯传。
So we had some videos that went viral on social media in China.
就是深圳很多
Shows
无家
homeless people in Shenzhen, which is one of the richest cities in China.
可归的人或者找不到工作的人，纷纷的睡
People
在马
can't
路
find
上
a。
现在
job,
深圳
so they're sleeping on the road. And winter in Shenzhen is very cold right now. I mean, it's not the coldest because I believe it's like a subtropical climate, but you wouldn't want to go out on the streets in a t-shirt and
真的
shorts.
冬天已经是很冷了，但是很多人呐都睡
Many
在路
people
边，
sleep on the roadside.
基
Look
本
at
上
the
被子都没有。你说晚上有没有可能冻死了？这就是所谓的全球第二大经济
freeze to death, apparently, this guy's saying.
大国的现状。看看习近平所谓的小康社会的
So this is Xi Jinping's so-called moderate
背后
prosperity.
到底是怎样的人间的
What kind of hell on earth is this?
地狱啊！就是这样的情况，他还好意思往外大撒币，对非洲、对其他的国家一撒几百亿美
So it's saying Xi Jinping has thrown money to Africa and other countries.
元，自己的人民都找不
Their
到
own people can't find
工
jobs.
作，没地方睡，睡马路上，你怎么还好意思大撒币了？对不对？到底打的是谁的脸？
Yeah, so, you know, apparently the key to running a country is to make its people better off. But I think Xi Jinping forgot about these people, right? Anyway, that was Xi's moments. Yeah. Xi Jinping can just do one, really.
That is why you fail.
And also, just wanted to show you guys this. It illustrates it quite well. we'll always remember the victims of the grape of Nanking. The rest we can forgive and forget, right, guys? So the Chinese people, the nationalists, they'll always talk about Nanjing and how awful the Japanese were. And yeah, correct. They were. They were terrible. They were awful, right? But that's 3 million deaths, right? Compared to the massive numbers from the Great Leap Forward and the Cultural Revolution, which the numbers are just unbelievably astronomical. And this illustrates it very, very well. So it's interesting that they still have the guy who was responsible for this, Mao Zedong, is celebrated as a hero. He's on the money, for God's sakes. People worship this guy. People have little shrines. You go into the countryside in China, you'll see people with little shrines set up to Mao Zedong in their home. That is how much they worship this guy. But then you have like this that shows you, and they really push the propaganda to say that Japan is so bad, and we should even be, holding Japan of nowadays responsible for their actions that happened during the Second World War. They were so bad that we should kick all Japanese people out. You see some signs up saying "No Japanese allowed in here." You've seen it. You must have seen like these videos of Chinese students stomping on Japanese flags and punching the map with a Japanese flag. People destroying Japanese products because Japan said that they would help Taiwan, that kind of thing. But then they were less responsible than one of China's own, Mao Zedong. It's just crazy to think about that, isn't it? So anyway, let's move along. This is funny. So we've all heard of knockoffs from China, right? But we have a whole row of knockoff shops. Let's see if we can find any. Let's see. Oh, okay. That is a knockoff. That Coco. It's a bubble tea shop, I think. I can't remember what the real one is called, but I've seen it before. That is definitely a rip-off. China is famous for its knockoffs, by the way. All right, we're coming up for one. Where is it? Where is it? What is Cha Pandao? Okay, let's see. Can we spot another one? Oh, Pizza Hut. Ke. But this one is my favorite one. Here it is. Domino's. Everybody, don't forget to order your Domino's with a margarita and a pepperoni pizza. Domino's. And oh look, it's the Muji, but this is Mujori. The Muji is a Japanese shop. They sell like pots and pans and some clothes and stationery and a bunch of stuff. So this is Mujori. Yeah, it's ridiculous. They're even ripping off their own. I mean, I guess Lucky Star, could that be like a rip-off of Starbucks? That kind of looks like a Starbucks logo, doesn't it? And Lovin' Coffee. Is that a rip-off of their own Luckin' Coffee? All of these shops, by the way, they're not even open, are they? They look like they're just fake shops. Domino's Pizza. Yes. What is Auntie's Cha? I mean, look, they're all fake shops. All right. And this is what happens to you if you whip out an American flag in China. This guy in the helmet is holding an American flag.
什么样的教育你说你都叛国贼啊？举美国国旗啊！大家看，到处举美国国旗。今天是南京大屠杀纪念日，到处举美国国旗。不知道哪里读书，在刚开始在国馆门口举美国国旗，我一路追。你为什么要举美国国旗？来，报了警。
My God. And I get, you know what the funny thing is, like, I get comments on my videos saying, why don't you hold up Taiwan's flag in China? We'll welcome you to come here. Bullshit. You can't even hold an American flag. America's like kind of their friend, right? You know what I mean?
跑不掉，我跟你讲。报了警，去美国国旗，你跑不掉了，我跟你讲。要怎么样吧？要怎么样？交给警察处理，交给警察处理。卖国贼啊！今天是南京大屠杀纪念日，在公然大街上举美国国旗，没展开什么。举美国国旗
Can't even hold a flag with the police camera and everything.
先说你是谁，我不认识你。你不用知道我们是谁，我们都啊。
出去。Okay, and then I just wanted to show you this ridiculous nationalism. Doesn't this remind you of Japan in the Second World War? And they're supposed to be, China are supposed to be against this sort of behavior. Sorry, but it's like, you know, some people would say this is scary, and it is, you know, this blind nationalism is scary, but at the same time, I just can't help but laugh at how pathetic this looks. And these are the Chinese national anthem is playing, and these kids are just standing there saluting. Moronic, isn't it? Like, it's just, oh God, yeah. And then I just found this clip because I thought it's coming up for Christmas. We're a week away from Christmas now, right? Exactly a week today. So I figured we might as well have a Christmas clip, and this was like literally the only thing that I could find. Let's watch it. It's dumb, okay? I'm not going to pretend that this is interesting.
你叫你赔了，我他妈都没叫Jimmy Lai，你先说他赔了。
All right, we need to.
赶紧把它撕掉。
Sorry, I'm just gonna. I need to pause it because I can't. It's going. Oh God, sorry.
叫Jimmy。
Okay. I haven't told the manager to do anything. You still go on to stick the decoration on the glass.
你先说他赔了，赶紧把它撕掉。
Tear it off now. So he's saying tear off the Christmas decorations.
门我都凿了。
I will smash the
不，
door.
你们也不
Otherwise, you don't have to do it.
用干了。74年。
74 years ago, our volunteer warriors were fighting with the best equipped US military in the
前
world.
我们的志愿军战士跟当时有个最强装备的美军在长津湖展开了激烈的较量。
Direct battle was
在
launched
平安夜当天，
Christmas Eve
他们吃喝烤
when the Americans were eating
鸡，
chicken
喝
and
着咖
drinking
啡，
coffee,
幻想着
fantasizing about ending the war early and going
早点结束战争，回家过圣诞节。我们的志愿军战士在
our warriors in the extreme cold weather.
零下30多度的极寒
These subtitles are garbage.
天气，坚守了一
Hold on day
天
after
又一天，
held on day after day.
成为了一
They became ice sculptures that were preparing for practical.
叫做请将准备实时战斗的冰雕，最终我们胜利
In the end, we
了。
won. No, in the end, the USA dropped nuclear bombs on Japan.
他们用他们
They used their lives and blood to restore happiness and
的
peace.
生命和鲜血，维护了祖国的幸福和安宁。这样，我们怎
So how dare we say there is a Christmas?
敢说有圣诞节？
I think Jesus would be arguing with you on that one.
怎敢说
How dare you say
过
Christmas?
圣诞节？凝聚历史，
Remember history.
新中国万岁！
What an absolute turd of a man. That is stupid. But they do hate Christmas in China, okay? Christmas is not a thing in China. At one point, it was getting quite big, you know? Like, they do some weird thing where they give you an apple because it's like a play on words because of Herping means peace and Pingor is apple. So the Ping, I guess, they give you an apple because they want you to have a peaceful life or whatever the hell it means. I don't know. But Christmas at one point was getting quite big in China, but I guess the government really, really doesn't like it. And yeah, sure, you'll see Christmas decorations around and that kind of thing. But when I was working in training schools, we even like had a Christmas party. But I heard that a lot of people who are working in schools now, they're not really having the work Christmas parties and that kind of thing anymore because the government really wants to get rid of this Western religious holiday, that something that they can't control because they just like to control everything, don't they? Anyway, guys, that is all. Let me just get on the screen here. That is all we have time for today. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, Jimmy Lai was guilty, but he wasn't guilty of anything. The only thing that's a crime that's going on right now is the national security law in Hong Kong and how it's eroding any freedom. All of the freedom that once flourished in Hong Kong has gone. And Jimmy Lai illustrates that point very well. And the British government, man, they are weak as hell. They are extremely weak. They can do nothing. They can't even help one of their own citizens in trouble. And unfortunately, I think Jimmy Lai will be used as a bargaining chip, as we've seen in the past, you know, with the two Michaels from Canada. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Please write a comment after you've finished watching this. Let me know what you think about the whole Jimmy Lai situation. And Merry Christmas to you all. See you guys in the next one, which won't be next week because unfortunately it's going to be on Christmas Day, on a Thursday, which is when this live stream usually is. So it'll be the following Thursday after Christmas. So we're going to have a little bit of a break. But anyway, guys, hope you have a great Christmas and I'll see you all very soon. Bye for now.